On today's show, which player do the Dallas Mavericks need to have a breakout year next year? We'll talk about that and more in today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
10 Mavericks, NBA champions. Bang! It's good, and the Mavericks have won the game.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show, making Locked On Mavs your first listen every day. Join the Raccoon Squad, be an everydayer, subscribe or follow wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube. But the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day and to comment anything below. Let us know in the comment section which Maverick having a breakout or career year would be the best for the Dallas Mavericks. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook partner of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. If you want to support the show, text us. Get text alerts from us. Text straight to your phone. Isaac will be covering the Dirk Hall of Fame enshrinement this weekend. You'll get some messages from him about that straight to your phone. Subscribe to our subtext. Click the link in the description or text the number. And joining me, as always, co-host, writer, contributor at Mavs.com. The breakout boy, the one more thing king. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
Feeling a little bit better. Thanks for holding down the fort yesterday.
Actually
get
sick.
better.
Isaac was actually sick yesterday.
Yeah, so apologize for the voice today, but it's Dirk week. Super excited for Dirk to be enshrined in Springfield, Massachusetts this coming weekend. But I turned on the TV today, and I'm not kidding you, the greatest timing ever. And I hardly ever just like turn on guide anymore of like what's on TV. And I click on NBA TV, and it says Game 2, 2011, Mavs Heat. And I was like, oh, let's go.
I'm locked in. I'm in.
I'm not kidding you. It was the last Mavs possession inbounding the ball for the Dirk lefty layup past Bosch over Haslam.
The spin.
Literally my favorite possession of all time. And I was like, Lord, you love me. Like, you love me unconditionally right now. And I'm like trying to get better. And I don't know if I have an altar calling me right now. Let me tell you about somebody who loves you unconditionally. Dirk Nowitzki loves the city of Dallas unconditionally. I got it.
I just had it next to me, and I was like, Pastor Isaac, sounds like we need to do an altar call.
Anyway, I'm so excited for Dirk. It's a huge week for him, and Dirk week, baby.
Dirk week. Isaac Harris will be there, so we'll have you covered for Dirk's Hall of Fame enshrinement and all that. He's having a press conference tomorrow morning or today morning, Tuesday, if you're listening to this. I should be there on that, so we'll have you covered on that. And but today,
some Raccoon Squad members have already reached out saying that they're going to be in attendance in Springfield. Like, hey, somebody even tweeted at me and said, I want to get a picture of the two Hall of Famers, Dirk and you. And I'm like, okay.
What Hall of Fame would we go in?
They're
not putting podcasters in the Broadcast Hall of Fame. I'm telling you that.
Not yet.
Not
yet.
It's fair. On today's show, though, we'll get into which player we think the Mavericks most need to have a breakout or a career year. So we're going to take some of these players and do that. Also, we will have coverage of Luka and Slovenia and FIBA. I'll be covering that tomorrow. It's Slovenia versus Montenegro. It's not Croatia. They changed that game. So I'll have coverage on that. And all throughout FIBA, we'll be doing breakout videos and podcasts. We'll put it in your feed. So wherever you listen or watch the show, it will be there for you. All right. The Dallas Mavericks have built some stuff around Luka and Kyrie, right? They've plugged some holes. They've taken, I always imagine the cartoon, like the boat with all the holes in it, and you're just plugging all the holes. The Mavericks have plugged some of those holes, right?
Yes, they have.
The problem is they need one or two players to have really, really good seasons in order for them to be better than last year. I talked yesterday about their clutch games and how late in games they just needed a little bit more. Well, they also needed to play less clutch games. They need to be better throughout the game so that they don't all the games come down to the final minute or so. If you had to pick one player, let's start with just the first player that comes to mind. Which player do the Mavericks most need to have a breakout year?
Okay, can I flip it on you real quick? And
Always.
How many players did you consider? How many players do you think are in this conversation? Because I really wrestled with this.
I started with 3, and then I went with there's an obvious 4th. Okay. And then I kind of just I left out Derek Lively and Omax because they can't have a breakout year if it's their rookie year. So we're pushing them aside. We're saying which, established-ish NBA players could have a breakout year or career year in the NBA. We're not talking Derek Lively or Omax. Obviously, if we're gonna include them, it's Derek Lively, right? Like I think even above Josh Green or Grant Williams or Hardy or anybody, like I feel like he would be the number one. But we're leaving him out of it for now. Who did you consider?
Yeah, and it has to be realistic too. Like, we were talking before. It's like, all right, we can't pick. You pick a player. You can't pick Jaden Hardy and say, you know what?
He'll be an all-star.
If he is Kyrie 2.0,
yeah,
we are. It's like, all right, you got to be realistic. What's the realistic, their career year so far and what that looks like for this team? And who would be the most important? I think it has to be JaVale. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. I do think there's a clear answer to this, but I want us to in the next 2 segments to talk exactly, about some of the other guys because I think it would be huge. But I think it has to be Josh Green. I think especially with how the roster's made up now. I know I've been making a big deal about who's guarding the point of attack guy on this team, and right now it's just Josh. I mean Dante Exum, if you want to talk about him, but Josh Green, it looks like he's probably going to be starting alongside Kyrie and Luka and, Grant Williams and then whoever the crap they want to put that up there at the 5 spot.
It'll be Dwayne.
But Josh Green, if he can have a career year this year, and when I went through some of these options, I put, what if he's blank? And I actually put like a player comp next to some of these guys. And I just went ahead and put it on there. I was like, what if he is young Andre Iguodala? Like this year. Like, what if that's the type of step that he takes? That you look at a role that Iguodala played, early on in his career. I know he scored more than what Josh ever will. Whenever you look at like young Philly, young Denver, Iguodala, but if he could take what Andre Iguodala played for the Warriors in some of their championship runs, and that type of role, being able to handle the ball, being able to guard some of the other team's best perimeter guys. And make the right passes. If he can hone the athleticism in to where he's not just like unleashed, but he has all the athleticism and jump and stuff. If that career year Josh can show up, I think that would vault the Mavericks ahead more than anybody on the rest of the roster.
It's a great one. Iguodala, by the way.
Non-Luka and Kyrie.
Obviously.
But
we're leaving those guys out. We're talking role player to have a breakout. I mean, what would a Luka breakout year even look like? Like, answer me that. It's already happened. They've already broken out, okay? The hives are there. Iguodala had like an 18-point a game year, a 20-point per game year, and then another 19. But he made the All-Star team. He averaged 12 points a game that year. It was his defense. It was his playmaking. It was that kind of stuff. And he shot almost 40% from 3 that year. And that was like his, breakout as, I'm an elite role player. I can do a bunch of things. So I'm with you on the Iguodala comparison. To me, Josh Green was the one that I ended up with. And then to me, continue to shoot 40% from 3, get from like 1.7 assists to 3 assists a game, like just double that. Connect on a couple more passes, because that's one big area of his game that I think can really thrive, especially if the Mavericks want to push the tempo a little bit more with Kyrie. Get him to like 3 assists a game, and then can he flirt with all defense? I don't think he's going to make it, but can he flirt with it? And then, to me, a breakout year for Josh Green would be guaranteed starter. There's just leaving no doubt. I've said this several times this offseason is, can Josh Green just leave no doubt that he's the starter? Can we not go, well, should Tim start? Well, should Hardy? Well, should Curry? Like, it's got to be no doubt Josh Green. I think that's a breakout or a career year for him. And I think it's totally doable, completely realistic. And I agree with you. It is the one that the Mavericks need the most because of his defense, the extra passing, the oil in the offense that he can bring and all that.
And look at his salary stuff too. Like, could they do the reverse Brunson on this to where
Whoa.
what if they extend him at a decent number? I know he's going to be restricted even if they, don't and all that. But what if they extended him at a good number before the season started and then he has the career year, kind of like what Brunson did? And then you're like, dang, like, look, we have this perimeter guy who could do all these things and he's locked up for 3 or 4 more years. That would be awesome for Dallas.
I look at what Grant Williams is making and what PJ Washington might make for the Hornets, and I go, well, might as well just sign Josh Green right now, because man, it sounds like they are going to work on a extension for him. It sounded like they were going to wait for a couple things. I know that front offices are all kind of on vacation right now, so I think a Josh Green extension will come. We haven't really talked about it because there's not really anything to talk about yet until they really discuss it. So
I asked Tim Cato about it last week, and then I'll probably ask our guest for tomorrow's pod about it. A guest who's never been on the pod before, but I think a lot of people will really enjoy him.
Yeah, he's been banned before, but now he's able to come on. So coming up, I'm going to tell you the other player that I think is probably the number 2. If Josh Green is our number 1 answer, who would the Mavericks most want to have a breakout year coming up? Before we do, Isaac Harris just downing a whole mason jar of water. Like, didn't even wait for me to go to break. But before we do,
moonshine.
It looked like it. It was a huge mason jar too. Before we do, let me tell you about FanDuel. FanDuel has you covered for football season. They've played a preseason game already. It's already here. Football's about to kick off. FanDuel is giving you the chance to win all season long because right now, if you want to bet on a Super Bowl winner, you can get bonus bets every time they win in the regular season. So, Isaac, if you want to bet for your Ravens to win the Super Bowl, all 4 regular season wins that they get, you'll also win in bonus bets. So you can go.
It's not even right.
You can go get bonus bets and you can use the bonus bets on spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. You can do it on the Cowboys. You can do it on the Bengals. You can do it on whoever you want. Go check it out. They also have all kinds of NBA stuff as well. Again, FanDuel.com/lockedon to start earning bonus bets with America's #1 sportsbook. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, listening every day, being an everydayer, part of the Raccoon Squad. Appreciate you. Tomorrow, I will have you covered for Slovenia versus Montenegro in the FIBA World Cup preparation games. Isaac Harris will have a very special guest on to talk all about the Dallas Mavericks offseason. Double pods. Who's doing 5 pods, let alone now it'll be like 7 or 8 with FIBA. So
yeah,
appreciate everyone sticking with us. The player outside of Josh Green that the Mavericks would most want to have a breakout or a career year, the one where I thought, oh, why did I not think of this player right away? It's Richaun Holmes.
Here's my only pushback on it. It's like, what does ceiling look like for him? He's on my list. And I put on there, I'm like, what if he's Rob Williams for Dallas this year? It's like that rim rolling career year.
Yep.
I see mixed stuff about his height. Like on NBA.com, they have
he's listed at 6'8".
Yeah, 6'8". But then other places say 6'10". He's one of those guys I got to see in person to see, like, all right, how big are you?
It's also the same with like Looney, right? I mean, Looney's kind of listed the same way. So to me, with Richaun Holmes, to have a breakout season, 30 minutes a game, like a guaranteed, oh, we got to play this guy 30 minutes a game. Elite in the pick and roll, which we think he's going to bring anyway. Listen to this stat I shared while you were out one day.
Ooh.
In 2021-22, so the last time he really had a role with the Kings, only 67 players shot at least 4.5 field goals inside of 8 feet, so like around the rim, and 1.5 field goal attempts from like 8 to 16, so like that mid-range, his push shot that he does. Holmes shot 73% from inside of 8 feet. That was number 1 in the NBA among those players. Holmes shot 52.3% from like the 8 to 16 feet. So that like push shot that we haven't seen a roller bring the Dallas Mavericks yet. That was number 3. And the 2 ahead of him were Jokic and DeAndre Ayton. Like he is elite in as a roller and around the rim and, in the paint area with that push shot, with his, stuff that he can do off of those rolls. And so if he can be elite at that and even be more elite than a Dwight Powell or, somebody else that we've seen at that position for the Mavericks. The other thing I think he can bring, Listen to his defensive rebound percentages. And I'm just going to give you the percentile. So cleaning the glass gives you how good they are at getting defensive rebounds. And then they give it a percentile. So if you're good, you're in like if you're great, you're in the 90th or the 99th percentile. If you're bad, you're in the 10th percentile. So it works that way. Richaun Holmes, 64th. This is the 3 years he played it a lot with the Kings. 64th, 62nd, and 57th. Okay? You're like, all right, that's pretty good. Mm-hmm. Dwight Powell, 18th, 34th, and 14th.
Yeah, it's not great.
No, not great. So I think he can bring some rebounding that we haven't seen in a little while. If they can just get a little bit better rim rolling, a little bit better rebounding, and then a little bit better around the rim, defending the rim, I think that would be just an ideal player that the Mavericks could have, especially as like a stopgap.
Yeah. So career year for him over his whatever his best statistical season would be.
Yeah. It
would be kind of like the same Josh Green thing. It would be no debate. He's your starting center until Lively's ready.
Right.
He's on my list, and he didn't. Grant Williams is my next guy, but behind Josh. But for him, I don't know if it's like the lack of confidence that he can hit the career year this year, or like, hey, what is he right now, since it's been a year or so. But I don't know. I'm just trying to think of, is he that
just trying to think of reasons to disagree with me, because you can't think of it.
I lean towards perimeter players, meaning more for the Mavs than the big man spot, because rebounding doesn't now.
It's just a bigger need. Like, big is still just the biggest need on this team right now. I feel good about Josh Green and Grant Williams, and I feel good about what they're going to bring to the team. Tim coming off the bench is like another wing. Hey, I feel okay about that. Omax, I'm excited about what he can bring at the wing.
Me too.
As an okay four rotation wing. Like, you'd wish that they had one more. You'd wish they had a better starter at either of those spots for sure.
Thibault.
Yeah, you wish you had a Matisse Thybulle type to fit in there, but you feel okay about it. Center, I'm looking at Richaun Holmes. He hasn't played really in a year. He, according to himself, he's been in jail with the Kings. You look at Dwight Powell, who half of our audience wants to throw in jail, but I mean, we don't. And then you have Derek Lively, who's a rookie, who I went over a ton of his stats.
Can he even go to jail?
Is he old enough? Would he have to go to juvie? But you look at that, it's just still a position of need, and they need one of those guys to break out. And it's to me, it's either Holmes or Lively, because we know exactly what Dwight Powell's going to bring.
Yeah, it's true. Mine was Grant Williams.
Yeah,
as my second pick behind Josh. And here's one of my predictions. We'll do predictions before the season starts, but one of my Grant Williams predictions is I think he makes an all defensive team this year.
Oh,
and I think it's because I think he takes so much pride in defense and guarding the other guys, and he's already started to get a little bit of that reputation of going head to toe with Jimmy Butler and all that in the playoffs. And now he's going to have that defined role in Dallas as that guy of guarding all the guys in the league, and he's going to work his butt off in that.
Yeah.
He's not going to score, since I've been writing the names down, like, what if he's this? I put, what if he's Andrew Wiggins for Dallas, like that type of role? He doesn't have the athleticism and all that, but like what Andrew Wiggins did for that Warriors team when they won it a few years ago is taking the primary, guy for the other team. Wiggins scored a little bit more than what I think Grant will, but just like those little roles, finding the spots to score, shoot the three well, defend on the perimeter, be able to switch. And so I think if Grant Williams has a career year to where he establishes himself as one of the best perimeter, like bigger wing defenders, I think that would be huge for Dallas.
That would be massive. I've gone over his numbers a little bit before about the difference between him and Bullock in driving. Like, it's just such a huge difference between the two of those guys, where Reggie Bullock drove like 30 times last year and Grant Williams was like 130. I mean, just having that element to his game. I talked to John Corrales in an episode last week about him and how he tried to do a little bit too much in the Boston Celtics offense, and that's one of the reasons why the Celtics, team got kind of over him. Like, hey, you're just doing a little bit too much. Play within the system. The Mavs need him to do a little bit too much. Like, hey, try that stuff. Go ahead. Like, go ahead and drive to the rim and do something. Maybe not go crazy, but we need just a little extra wrinkle on offense, and I think he can bring that. So to me, for him, he was my third if I was going to pick. High-end starter. Can he become that? Can he do what Aaron Gordon did for the Denver Nuggets, right? He's different type of player, but he did play 5. Aaron Gordon played 5 for them. Grant Williams is probably going to play some 5 for the Mavericks because he can guard centers. He guarded a bunch of centers for the Celtics. Can he continue to shoot 40% from 3? Can he, take more threes because Luka's going to get him wide open for those more so than what the Celtics could? I mean, that's what we're talking about with Grant Williams. And then I also said flirting with all defense. You went all the way there, which I'm proud of. You went all the way there with it. Coming up, let's give the rest of the players. What does a breakout year look like for some of these guys, and how could the Mavericks benefit from some of those? We'll be talking about that coming up.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
All right, Isaac Harris, you're out of moonshine in your giant mason jar. I think it's just because of how close you have it to the camera, but it just looks so big.
I mean, no, it's a pretty good sized jar.
Okay, it's like a bigger than a normal mason jar, like that you'd put jam in or something.
Yeah.
The next player I had was Jaden Hardy. That was the next guy that really stood out. It's like, what could a breakout year be for Jaden Hardy? I don't think the Mavericks would benefit the most from him having a breakout year, but I think he's a prime candidate for one. To me, a breakout year is he's guaranteed in the rotation, and he's like 6th man, maybe flirting with 6th man of the year type thing. Like he's in the conversation of 6th man of the year, like 15 to 16 points a game, and right up there.
Yeah, like can he be? We've thrown out Jordan Poole's name a lot, but can he be a Jordan Poole? I feel like I'm just like picking Warriors players here, but can he be a Jordan Poole?
Can Kyrie be Steph Curry? Talk about that coming up.
Can Luka be Looney?
Be Draymond plus Klay Thompson coming
up. But not if Jaden Hardy had a career year to where he established himself as the 3rd offensive option on the team, that would be that. I do think that would be big because I am a little not probably but like I am a little bit worried to where what does the offense look like? Do they have enough whenever like Luka's out with like an ankle, stuff for like 3 or 4 games, or Kyrie's out for something?
Then we're really gonna find out if Grant Williams can do too much, right? Like those are those games.
And it's like, all right, so what's the offense when one of those, in some of those games, and then one of the guys is is setting net? Is Tim taking 14 threes again, or is it Seth? But even like like Seth can create a little bit, but like ideally Seth is coming off screens off ball and you're hitting Seth. These guys are getting set up by one of those 2 guys. So if Jaden can take that next step to be like a consistent 3rd option scorer, and especially when some of those, one of those guys is setting out a few games or something like that, that would be a huge deal. But I'm with you. I think Josh and Grant having career years would mean more. For me, I think it's a little bit of debate. What would mean more, Richaun Holmes' career year or Jaden Hardy career year?
Yeah, and no debate for me, but
interesting. Would it matter for the trade market for you?
For sure. For sure. That's a good one. I have a spicy take here.
Okay.
Would a Jaden Hardy like breakout year, him being the 3rd option, like you said, wouldn't that be more problematic for the Mavericks than it would be helpful?
No.
If I had the choice between one of these other ones, right? Because with Jaden Hardy, if he has a breakout year, then all of a sudden you're okay. We can't not play this guy, and all of a sudden we're playing Luka, Kyrie, and Hardy together. It'll look like the end of last season's Mavericks, right? I mean,
no, because Jordan Poole showed that he could score a lot of the score the basketball, but like
he was playing with Draymond though. Like the Mavericks don't have one of those.
Have you seen Omax? I don't think I don't think it would be bad, and I especially don't think it would be bad because of the trade possibilities. Also,
no, it wouldn't be a bad thing. I'm just saying if he's the one that all of a sudden jumps out, and you're like, oh my gosh, we got to play this guy. You still have a defensive problem, but you'd take that problem any day of the week.
Yeah, speaking of, it would increase the trade market. If Tim Hardaway started the year and had like a career start to the year, man, you're like, all right, what center can we get? But I don't even have a name, like, because I just don't expect Tim to be on the roster very long. So I was like, what would be the career year comp for Tim if he? And he's already been in the league so long that I'm like, you're not gonna really turn into a defender, right? Like, so who's the other like flamethrower scorers out there?
I look at like, remember Eric Gordon on the Rockets in like 2017-18, they won 65 games, and he was like a halftime starter. Like he started 30 out of the 69 games that he played.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Averaged like 18 points. I think he was sixth man of the year that year. Yeah, he was six. Yeah, he was sixth man of the year before that, and then this next season he averaged like 18 points a game. But like,
I couldn't do Klay Thompson, so I couldn't get the Warriors thing going. So
maybe like later Klay Thompson, maybe like a recent Klay Thompson, like a post-injury Klay Thompson. But even that, he was averaging 22 points a game on 10 threes a game, getting to the line a couple times. It's not Tim. So, but yeah, he would, if he had a breakout year for Tim, it would make him more tradable. I just feel like we've also just seen what we can from Tim,
Yeah. Okay.
Let
me throw. No. Sorry. I mean,
okay, move on. I'm moving on.
I mean, I'm excited. He just didn't make my list because I feel like we know what he is. I think he's going to fit great with this roster. I'm excited for him. Everything. It's not like I'm against it. I just don't think. I don't know what a career. I don't think he has the like. I could be wrong, but I just don't think he has like the ceiling of Jaden Hardy as far as being the third, establishing himself as the third. Let me say it this way: I would be shocked if he leaped past Tim and Jaden Hardy to establish himself as the third offensive option on the team.
I wrote, is there a world where he's a starter? And then that became my answer to my question.
Whoa.
Like, I don't think so. No, like I don't think so, right? Like I don't think there is one.
No, he just can't play with Luka. I mean, somebody's got to play defense.
That's what I'm saying about Hardy earlier.
Yeah. Let me throw this one out there. This is the last
getting to you.
I know it is. This is the last one that made my list. And this is kind of would base off like health for career year. Could Maxey be a version of Al Horford to like drain the threes?
I thought Al Horford was the Celtics' second best player in some of their playoff games this past year.
Okay, well, never mind then. I just think I was trying to think of other bigs out there that 6'10", 6'11", that can hold their own on some switches, but hit the three at a high rate and defend the rim, play smart basketball. And a lot of the Maxey stuff comes down to health. But if he can have a career year and like career healthy year, like it's more like career health type of season and maintain the outside shooting, I think that would, especially since you don't have a established like big man right now, if you kept the same center rotation, then I think it would play into like a lot of nights to Maxey being your closing five, and it's Maxey, Grant Williams, Josh Green, Luka, and Kyrie. And then you have shooters out there, you have switchability, you have defense, but yeah. Anyway, he's definitely last on my list, but like Seth didn't make my list, but there's a world that where if Maxey has a career year, it does impact this team a decent amount.
The problem with Maxey having a breakout or a career year and that being the one player is he would have to add something else to his game to me, because I think we know what he's going to bring already. Can he just get better at each individual thing that he already does and make it a breakout? Like, I don't know. But the Mavericks struggle with, rebounding, rim protection, things like that, and like extra playmaking, because they've kind of folded themselves into, well, Maxey at the 5 is our best closing lineup. And so inherently we are going to struggle at those things because Maxey closing at the 5 has been our best lineup. And so they've kind of boxed themselves into that. So unless Maxey can add rebounding or, elite rim protection to his game, like I don't know if it takes him up.
Yeah, but like Holmes and Dwight don't have that.
Holmes can do
Richaun
it.
Holmes has some little bit of rebounding. Yeah,
Holmes can do it rebounding a little bit better. He's not going to bring elite rim protection. He can do a little, and so I think that
he can't shoot the three.
he cannot. But he's an elite rim roller, which
It's true.
you need. It adds a different element to your game.
And that's where, in a perfect world, they both have really good seasons. Where then you play the matchup, right? Like
the other part is that Maxey as the 5 and what the Mavericks want to run on offense makes their offense predictable at the end of games, right? You just don't have as many options. You don't have the pick and roll option with anybody. Maybe
there's more space though. Like you can put everybody
to do
on the
what
perimeter.
to do the things that we saw last year where they dribble, pull up into a shot that you don't really like, right? You just don't. There's still just not as many options to do things on offense. So.
I think it's matchup dependent. If you want more space to where all 5 guys can hit a 3, then you can run that type of offense. If you want a rim roller, you could throw Richaun Holmes out there. I think the biggest thing for Holmes is like, can you prove that you're better than Dwight? That's the thing. To where
number one.
If it's not, then Dwight's going to win that. Like if you're anywhere close to Dwight, and as far as Dwight, we know Dwight's going to play over you. So, and Dwight's really good rim roller and all that stuff. So like that's the thing for Richaun Holmes.
Absolutely. Let us know in the comment section, which player do you think the Mavericks would most benefit having a breakout year? We'll talk about more stuff tomorrow. I'll have the Slovenia game from FIBA covered. Isaac will have a guest tomorrow night. Double Locked On Mavs pods tomorrow. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.